Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back.
The Vivo X300 Ultra is finally here. And for a lot of people, the first impression might be something like, wait, this looks pretty similar to the last one. I actually got some early hands-on time with it, so in this video, we're gonna break it down by answering 3 key questions. What's actually improved over the previous model, where its camera stands among today's top smartphones, and most importantly, whether it's worth your money. A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from techmaiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our exciting tech content. The X300 Ultra sticks with that cool tone camera-inspired look to emphasize its photography focus. The color split now blends more closely with the metal frame, which helps visually tie the back panel and frame together, making the large camera module feel more balanced. The unit we have is the film green version, a clean and vibrant green that looks consistently sharp across different lighting conditions. It definitely stands out. But if you're more into traditional styles, there are also silver and black options that keep things simple and elegant. The camera module still uses that pancake-style deco design, giving it a minimal yet textured appearance, while also offering a bit of practical support when placing the phone down. Compared to the last generation, the back panel now curves more smoothly into the module, and the edges feel more refined. That said, considering how large the camera bump is, it's a bit disappointing that features like a rotating lens ring still aren't included. In terms of size, not much has changed. The thickness is nearly identical to the previous model, although with the camera module included, the X300 Ultra does feel slightly thicker. Because of subtle design tweaks on both the front and back, the mid-frame on the previous model looked narrower and more rounded, while this one leans into flatter surfaces and straighter lines. That actually helps make better use of the internal space and gives the phone a more polished, premium feel overall. So what do you think about this year's design? Moving to the front, you're getting a top-tier 2K flat display powered by BOE's exclusive Q10 Plus panel. It supports an adaptive refresh rate from 1 to 144 Hz, along with 2160 Hz high-frequency PWM dimming at full brightness, plus DC dimming for added eye comfort. So yes, it's sharp, smooth, and easier on the eyes all at once. In real-world use, manual peak brightness hits 832 nits, while full-screen peak brightness goes up to 1875 nits. This is definitely a display that lives up to the Ultra branding. Now let's talk about what really matters here, the cameras. The X300 Ultra continues with 3 key focal lengths, 14mm, 35mm, and 85mm. Each serves a distinct purpose while maintaining a logical zoom progression. This dedicated main camera approach is one of the reasons why so many enthusiasts are drawn to Vivo's Ultra series. The fixed focal length system that had some rollout delays on the previous model is now back, and it's been further refined. Starting with the ultra-wide lens, this is where the least has changed. It still uses Sony's Leica 818 sensor, a 50 megapixel 1.28-inch flagship sensor, paired with a 14mm equivalent focal length and an f2.0 aperture, along with OIS. The main upgrade here is the stabilization rating, moving from SEPA 5.0 to 6.0. Even if it feels like a copy-paste, the hardware still stands strong compared to other flagship ultra-wide cameras in 2026. The 35mm lens is where things get really interesting. It debuts Sony's brand new Leica 901 sensor, a massive 1.12-inch 200 megapixel sensor, currently the largest of its kind in a smartphone. It brings technologies like 4x ISC and hybrid frame HDR, boosting resolution while maintaining solid dynamic range. Because a 35mm lens naturally requires more thickness than a typical 24mm lens, that prominent camera bump suddenly makes a lot more sense. The previous generation's 35mm setup wasn't considered ultra enough by some users, but this time, Vivo has combined a large sensor, 200 megapixel resolution, and a 35mm focal length into one package. On paper alone, it's a significant step forward. As for the 85mm telephoto lens, this is traditionally where Vivo shines. Building on the X100 Ultra, it now features the high-speed, high dynamic range 200 megapicture HP0 sensor, along with SEPA 7.0 stabilization that mimics a gimbal-like effect. The only downside is the aperture dropping from f2.27 to f2.6, which does raise some questions about low-light performance compared to before. One surprising addition is the new multi-light auxiliary lens designed to improve color accuracy. This so-called primary color lens includes 12 color channels, a wider emission range, and improved blank area handling. The result is incredibly precise color reproduction, even for users with a very critical eye. In real-world shooting, when compared to the X200 Ultra and the iPhone 17 Pro Max using default color modes, the X300 Ultra produces a look that's quite close to its predecessor, focusing on accurate colors with a slight boost in brightness and saturation. Compared to the iPhone's more selective color tuning, Vivo's output tends to be more immediately appealing. Some people might still prefer the iPhone's realism, but honestly, after taking multiple shots, the X300 Ultra clearly delivers more consistent and accurate color reproduction, especially in tricky scenarios like blue hour skies or warm night lighting. In the past, smartphone color science often felt a bit hit or miss, but with the introduction of hardware like this primary color lens, color accuracy now feels much more reliable and repeatable. When it comes to resolution, there isn't a huge difference between these phones in standard mode. The real distinction comes from image processing. The X300 Ultra seems smart enough to treat different light sources differently, toning down harsh artificial highlights while preserving natural light, resulting in a more realistic image overall. The transitions between light and shadow are also smoother and more natural. At this stage, where hardware is already at such a high level, it's clear that software refinement is the next big focus. Both the 35mm and 85mm lenses support full 200 megapixel shooting, and once you enable high-resolution mode, the level of detail noticeably increases. But more importantly, those extra pixels give you flexibility. You can crop and reframe your shots in post without losing quality, which is especially useful with the 35mm lens and can save a lot of photos that might otherwise be unusable. Overall, image quality improvements this year are relatively modest, mainly because the previous generation was already so strong. Even now, the Ultra series remains highly competitive. The upgrades in the X300 Ultra are more subtle but meaningful. Things like improved autofocus, especially in telephoto shots. Subjects that were previously hard to lock onto now get detected and focused automatically, making the whole experience smoother. Another noticeable improvement is how closely the preview matches the final image. There's less delay, faster processing, and a more accurate what you see is what you get experience. The high-resolution mode is also much easier to use now, removing the need for manual adjustments when shooting 200 megapixel images. There are also more specialized shooting modes. Landscape photographers get enhanced scene modes with richer detail and clearer output, while street photography mode offers a cleaner interface and deeper tonal expression. Existing modes like stage, document, and candid photography are still here and have been refined further. Vivo clearly understands how to optimize for these real-world scenarios, which likely explains why users often lean toward their devices even when hardware specs are similar. And finally, on the video side, you're getting full-range 4K at 120 FPS, 10-bit color depth, and uncropped footage, features that even traditional camera brands probably didn't expect to see so soon in a smartphone. The kind of hardware upgrades that took Vivo 3 to 5 years to refine have now been matched by other smartphone brands in just 1 or 2 years. When you bring 4K 120 FPS slow motion footage into your edits, it really elevates the pacing of your videos and makes everything feel more polished. Turning on Dolby Vision or log recording pushes things even further with 10-bit color, giving you much greater flexibility when it comes to color grading later on. While the improvements in the ultra-wide and telephoto lenses aren't always obvious in standard shooting conditions, the upgrade to the 35mm lens is something you can actually notice. On the video side, most of the progress comes down to better color handling, smoother motion, and improved control. Vivo's focusing system has clearly evolved, with more natural transitions in brightness and color across different focal lengths. There's less aggressive sharpening and reduced reliance on HDR processing, which results in footage that feels noticeably softer and more natural. Another great addition is that the color styles you'd normally use in photo mode can now be applied to video as well. And if you tap into view mode out of curiosity, you'll find that your footage suddenly takes on a cinematic vibe. This mode applies color grading directly to your clips, while film style goes a step further and outputs footage that already looks like it's been professionally edited. The aspect ratio even shifts to that classic 2.4:1 cinematic format. On top of that, you get subtle touches like vignetting, film grain, and light bloom effects. It honestly feels like a one-tap shortcut to a process that would normally take hours in post-production. And looking at the results, it's genuinely impressive. Stabilization has also improved, and it's not just because of hardware. The difference between a 200mm and 300mm stabilization system might not sound huge, but in practice, it allows for smoother and more natural motion when you're recording. Even when you're standing still, the stabilization doesn't feel overly processed or jumpy. Instead, it reacts more naturally, almost with a subtle breathing effect that makes footage feel more organic. When it comes to controls, things are actually simpler than you might expect. In the default video interface, the left side buttons are used less frequently, while the right side organizes focal length and color settings in a clear and logical way. You can access more options here, and commonly used adjustments are just a swipe away, so you don't have to dig through menus. It's a bit unfortunate that exposure adjustment isn't as accessible as before, but overall, the system is still very user-friendly. The professional video mode has now been separated from the main photo interface, and the first time you open it, it gives off a very pro camera vibe. All the parameters are neatly arranged and fully customizable. You also get helpful tools like audio waveform monitoring, battery status, and storage information displayed right on screen. This setup is especially useful for serious video work like vlogging or content creation. Custom LUT monitoring isn't new, but what's interesting this time is that Vivo has introduced its own LUT library within the photography app, and it's expected to keep expanding. For new users, this makes experimenting with different looks much more approachable. If you enjoy shooting in manual mode, this professional setup is definitely something you'll appreciate. Now, beyond the phone itself, the photography kit is where things get really exciting. Attaching something like a 400mm lens to a smartphone sounds almost unreal. The included case comes in a full silver finish with a metal lens ring that can be swapped out for either a lens mount or a filter adapter, giving you a lot of creative flexibility. The added grip makes the phone feel more secure in hand, and there's even a built-in 2300 mAh battery to extend usage when you need it most. You also get physical buttons for quick adjustments like zoom and exposure, along with a dedicated custom button. The back and grip area are covered in a textured rubber material that feels smooth, but also more like holding an actual camera. The teleconverter lenses are especially interesting. The 200mm option is designed for portability, offering solid optical quality while staying compact enough for everyday use without drawing too much attention. The 400mm, on the other hand, is all about extreme reach. If you think of a standard 23mm lens as 1x, this setup can push you to around 17x optical zoom. The level of compression and detail you get is incredible. It's hard to believe these shots are coming from a smartphone. Since the mount design hasn't changed, older teleconverters from the previous generation still work with the X300 Ultra. There's even an option for this on the official site. Interestingly, that also means the X200 Ultra can technically use this new setup. However, since it hasn't been fully optimized yet, stabilization isn't as strong and the focal length readings aren't accurate. Hopefully, a software update will address this soon. And I know what a lot of you are thinking, this would be perfect for shooting concerts. Unfortunately, I couldn't test that myself since I couldn't get tickets, but I've heard other brands are also working on similar telephoto accessories, so maybe we'll see a proper comparison once I finally get the chance. If that sounds interesting, let me know in the comments. When we talk about flagship camera phones, especially Ultra models, there's always an expectation that they should instantly deliver better image quality. That's great for casual users, but it can also limit how much beginners learn and how much professionals can push their creativity. Vivo seems to take a different approach. They leave the more straightforward experience to the standard X300 and X300 Pro, and based on what we've seen, they've done a great job there. The Ultra, on the other hand, is designed with a different goal in mind. to serve professional users while also helping more people step into that space. That's why the X300 Ultra features a powerful triple camera system with consistent focal lengths and strong baseline image quality. Its color science is more accurate, giving you reliable results while still leaving room for creative interpretation. It also offers a more complete ecosystem of accessories, using physical tools to expand what's possible and solve limitations that software alone can't fix. On top of that, the higher-end video formats mean you can either shoot casually or go all the way and create cinematic content. The choice is yours. In the world of professional mobile photography, Vivo is carving out its own unique path. As for where the X300 Ultra ranks among other camera phones, it's still a bit early to say since several 2026 Ultra models haven't launched yet. But one thing is certain, if you've never tried a Vivo Ultra device before, the X300 Ultra is absolutely worth experiencing. And if you already have a strong interest in photography, pairing it with the camera kit is an easy recommendation. If you're currently using the X200 Ultra though, might be better to wait for the next generation. The upgrades here, while meaningful, probably aren't enough to justify upgrading every single year. That's it for this video. If you've captured any amazing shots recently, feel free to share them in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.